Swallows, martins, and swifts are some of the most common and well-known birds, coming in many shapes and colors. In fact, barn swallows have the largest natural distribution of all passerines, occasionally even stopping in Antarctica. But these birds, with their crazy antics and unique behaviors, can be hard to identify in the field. So, here is a short video about 5 tips to reliably and efficiently identify swallows and their cousins. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for your support. 5. Look at size and, more importantly, shape. Swallows, like all other groups of birds, are generally different sizes and shapes, depending on the species. For example, chimney swifts have almost non-existent blunt tails and are very small. Barn swallows have deeply forked tails and are slightly bigger than sparrows, and similar cave swallows have square tails. Another great example is found with purple martins, with them having shallowly forked tails and being only slightly smaller than robins. In summary, just knowing the shape of a swallow's tail can be very helpful with identification, especially if it's a very cloudy day and you cannot see the colors of the bird. Do note that the overall shape of a bird may be helpful when identifying swallows in the field, but generally do avoid over-relying on it, as it isn't as reliable as the other tips on this list. 4. Calls and behavior. Swallows are noisy creatures by nature, sometimes overwhelming the air with their jumbled songs and alarm calls. Though this may be considered a nuisance by some, this common behavior of swallows is a very useful identification tool in the field, with different species making slightly different sounds. Some common ones to memorize in the southeastern U.S. are barn swallows, purple martins, chimney swifts, tree swallows, wild green swallows, northern ruffling swallows, swift swallows, and bank swallows. Behavior is also an important identification feature, with different species having different habits and preferences. Purple martins like feeding in mid-air, often flying higher than swallows and using a mixture of gliding and flapping to stay aloft. Chimney swifts fly with near constant wing beats and are almost always aloft. Lastly, tree swallows fly acrobatically, catching insects. Barn swallows fly at various heights, never gliding, and northern ruffling swallows fly lower and slower than most other swallows, often perching. 3. Habitat and nesting habits. Depending on the species, the preferred habitat may vary, though generally all swallows hang out in areas where water and flying insects are abundant, or fly high in the sky, snatching insects on the wing. Though there are some exceptions, with barn swallows being highly adaptable, chimney swifts roosting in chimneys and otherwise always being in flight, and wild green swallows hanging out in woodlands, often with lakes and streams. Also, if you are lucky to find a swallow nest, the material, design, or location of the nest can tell you a lot about the species who made it. With purple martins nesting only in nest boxes in groups, tree swallows in wood and tree cavities, barn cliff swallows and chimney swifts build their nests on overhangs out of mud, and northern ruffling swallows and bank swallows nesting in burrows made by other animals in the sides of rivers. 2. Color patterns. Though probably useless if the lighting conditions aren't right or if the bird is too far away, the color of swallow can sometimes be one of the best ways to narrow down the list of possible species in the field. For example, a cliff swallow can be easily distinguished from a barn swallow based on whether or not it has a white mark on its forehead. To see images, learn more about each specific species' plumage coloration, and get other ID tips, check out Cornell. 1. Go birding with others. As mentioned in my other bird identification videos, going birding with others can help you learn how to identify a variety of species by giving you experience in the field with people who know more than you. Happy birding! Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, share, and like.